The American housing market is no longer cooling down. It is silently collapsing beneath numbers that no economist can soften anymore. Mortgage debt in the United States has now crossed $12.7 trillion. Affordability has fallen to its lowest level since 1986, and a family earning the national median income of $78,000 can now afford less than 18% of homes nationwide. For decades, rising home values were treated as a sign of security, but inflation has quietly erased those gains. What looked like prosperity was largely leverage, and now, as interest rates climb and wages stagnate, that leverage is turning into a national breaking point. Before we continue, please take a moment to subscribe to Maple States so we can finally reach our first 1,000 subscribers. Inflation has transformed the dream of home ownership into a debt trap. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate, which touched 2.6% in 2021, now hovers near 7.8%, tripling the cost of borrowing in barely 4 years. A standard $400,000 mortgage that once required about $1,600 per month now drains nearly $2,900. And that monthly jump doesn't just pressure families, it pushes millions completely out of the market before they can even apply. At the same time, wages tell a different story. Household income in America has crept from $70,800 to $78,000, a gain of barely 10%. But the median home price has surged from $329,000 to over $420,000, creating a 90% mismatch between what Americans earn and what homes cost. The average worker now spends 45% of gross income simply servicing a mortgage. This is the highest burden ever recorded, and when debt-to-income ratios reach that level, banks begin tightening credit. Loan approvals fall, buyers disappear, and the market begins to contract, not gradually, but mechanically. Every single percentage point added to mortgage rates wipes out millions of potential households from eligibility. That is why pending home sales have fallen 16% year over year. Mortgage applications are at a 28-year low, and builder sentiment has dropped to crisis levels. Even the once unstoppable Sunbelt markets, Florida, Texas, Arizona, are now showing inventory spikes and price declines that outpace the early months of the 2008 collapse. But the deeper pressure is no longer coming from families, it's coming from institutions. For the first time in modern U.S. housing history, Wall Street investors now control nearly 1 in every 5 single-family homes. During the pandemic, these firms borrowed cheap money at 3% interest, bought properties in bulk, packaged them into rent-backed securities, and treated homes like a tradable asset class. But when mortgage rates surged above 7%, the value of those securities plunged. Institutional sellers are now quietly unloading properties at 15 to 25% discounts, not to help buyers, but to survive balance sheet stress. Every sale adds more supply to a market already losing buyers. And when institutional portfolios unwind, small investors who bought during peak prices get trapped. Their equity evaporates overnight. This liquidity fracture is now spreading through the broader economy. New home sales have fallen 14% year over year. Existing home sales are down 0.7%, and active listings have surged 29%, flooding the market with inventory that buyers cannot afford. Properties that once sold within 72 hours now sit unsold for an average of 53 days. Builders are cutting prices, some by 20%. But even that cannot overcome the damage done by high borrowing costs. At the same time, mortgage originations have collapsed 55% compared to their 2021 peak, the sharpest drop since the government began tracking this data. Behind every unsold home are frozen commissions, canceled construction projects, and unpaid contractors. This is not just a slowdown in housing. This is the freezing of an entire ecosystem that once pumped trillions of dollars into local economies. American households are reaching their breaking point. Early-stage mortgage delinquencies are up 28% year over year. The average mortgage balance is now $267,700, and total household debt has crossed $18.6 trillion, exceeding the size of the U.S. economy itself. Energy costs are up 22%. Property insurance premiums have jumped 38%, and real estate taxes continue rising across the country. The median American family now spends 43% of net income on housing-related expenses. And the national safety cushion is gone. The U.S. savings rate sits at around 3.8%, one of the lowest in nearly half a century. Credit card debt recently crossed $1.33 trillion, a new all-time high. Millions of Americans are now using revolving credit to cover everyday expenses, effectively borrowing to survive. This erosion of household solvency will inevitably convert into foreclosures, forced sales, and deeper price declines. When millions of families can no longer meet payments, local markets absorb the shock, and those markets are already saturated with inventory. At the macro level, the picture is equally concerning. Housing accounts for nearly 18% of U.S. GDP. Today, residential construction spending has fallen 12%, furniture orders are down 24%, appliance sales down 17%, and subcontractor cancellations are at their highest level since 2009. Construction job growth has fallen from 3% to 1.4%, while mortgage brokers, inspection firms, and building supply companies report rapid declines in business. That alone is enough to tip the U.S. into a full recession. Meanwhile, institutional investors, the same players who fueled the boom, are quietly exiting. Property sales by large investment groups have surged 62% over the last 3 quarters. Bulk purchases have fallen to their lowest level since 2012, and real estate trusts are selling rental portfolios at steep discounts simply to meet maturing debt obligations. Even regional banks are pulling back, cutting construction lending by nearly 30% as commercial mortgage losses grow. This exit is not panic, it is preparation. The top 1% has already started retreating from the housing market before the average American even realizes what's happening. And that is the most important signal of all. The U.S. housing market is not waiting for a dramatic collapse, it is undergoing one, slowly, silently, and mathematically. Every unsold home, every underwater mortgage, every frozen loan is part of a nationwide correction already in motion. This is not a temporary cooling. It is the early stage of a solvency crisis that will shape the decade ahead. Thank you for watching Maple States. If you found this report valuable, subscribe and turn on notifications. Just a short click helps keep independent news alive. And as always, the best comment will be pinned at the top.